It was getting so bad that people were comparing this Mowbray team to Steve Bruce. He's now gone now, and we're here to get the panel's reaction to that. We've got Ben, Aaron, and Dan. We're getting straight into it. Thank you for joining us this week, Glenn. We're going to let them just rant and get it all out of the system. Do join us in the comments. Right, Aaron, how bad has it got? Has it been as bad as Steve Bruce?
Well, honestly, it's not close. It is close. It is close. It's not far away. I don't understand a lot of the decisions that the manager has made. Sometimes you can see where a manager's coming from when you see a manager picking a team. The way they play, the way they sort of want to play. But with Mowbray, I haven't understood a lot of. I have understood a lot of what's going on. A lot of the teams he's picked haven't correlated with what a lot of fans would have imagined, which to say shouldn't be the be all and end all. What the fans think shouldn't be what the manager should pick. The manager should know best, but Mowbray hasn't provided the results which should get us to where we want to be. I mean, today we lost a derby. Last week it was Coventry away we'd lost, which we provided no fight against. You can't survive these kind of results. So Coventry away is probably at the moment our closest derby, barring Stoke. So you sort of can't lose that fixture, and considering Coventry are in the position of the playoffs, it means that much more to the Albion fans, to the Albion, us as a team. I don't think you can lose that result. And I think last week should have been sackable. Never mind this week.
Cheers, Aaron. There's lots of tweets we can share here, but he's now been sacked, so it's irrelevant. Kind of really most of them. But Dan, for you, lots of the tweets are accusing him of losing the dressing room, and the players clearly, almost deliberately, not playing for him. I think I've got this one here. This one says Furlong, Bartley, and Dean Garner should be sacked for breach of contract. Their performances looked absolutely deliberate. They should be ashamed. I mean, do you see that as well? That players were clearly not playing for him?
Yeah, definitely. Especially Furlong, because to be honest, he's been quite consistent. He's had a really good season, but then as soon as Mowbray's come in, he's looked a completely different player. He looked so disinterested. It's unreal. Bartley, I think it might be probably down to his age, to be honest. To be honest, no idea why they've given him an extended contract. But in all fairness to Dean Garner, he did actually look a hell of a lot better today, but then he sort of died off in the second half. I think he was the only one really pulling the strings in the middle of the park in the first half, but then he just sort of disappeared in the second half. But there's a lot more players on that pitch today that weren't even playing for the shirt, and I think one of the positives to actually come out of today's game was Swifting come on, because I think it probably would have been a hell of a lot worse. I mean, he came on against Coventry, he had 2 touches, give the ball away, and they scored. And it was we just capitulated from that moment. But going back to the Coventry game, we didn't even have a shot on target. That was meant to be one of our biggest games this season, and we didn't even have a shot on target. That's poor.
It's disgusting.
The tweets that we're getting a little bit difficult, I think, for any Mowbray fan to read, Ben, including strong views such as Houtz here saying, having watched Tony Mowbray for 3 months, I'd like to apologise to Tony Pulis, Ishmael and Steve Bruce. I didn't think there would be a manager that made me hate our football more than you, but I was wrong. Ben, there's lots of people saying Mowbray's making me hate this team. I can't stand him. Get rid of him. I mean, Aaron, you yourself have been quite strong on calling him out. Has he ruined his legacy, Ben?
I wouldn't say he's ruined his legacy. I mean, I think he'll always be in high regard from what he did back in sort of 2007. You know, we can't sort of begrudge him that. But I think the main factor is the game's completely moved on from then. It's a completely different game. You know, back then we were on centre backs to be playing on the ball. You know, we see a lot of that. Carl Bartley spends most of his time with his foot on the ball in the games. And as Dan said, Furlong's been... He was embarrassing today, Furlong was. He spent half the first half turning to the bench and shrugging his shoulders, so he didn't have a clue what he was doing. You know, we talked about Dean Garner as well. Dean Garner plays centre midfield today. I mean, anyone who's watched us play even, you know, once clearly would know that Dean Garner's not a centre midfielder. So in what world does Mowbray look to him and thought he can play there? You know, we've seen Isaac Price right back. We've seen Jason Mulumby right wing. It's just chopping and changing all the time. Hasn't known his best team. You know, the players don't want to play for him. Furlong, as I said, embarrassing. Bartley, embarrassing. No fight, no determination. You know, we're only heading one way, and that was down under Mowbray at the minute. But I'll always respect him. You know, he's done really well for us. He was in charge of one of the most exciting teams we had. But it's just not worked out for him, and you know it's a shame. But it's the right thing, and we need someone fresh, younger, just you know really embed their ideas on it. Project type manager who can move us in the right direction. So, yeah.
Colin Grant, Ben, just staying with you as well, is another one that's just been a mystery because he's played so well and scored some important goals in the first half of the season. Then he seems to have been. It's a bit of fallout there, or you know, he's criticised him, hasn't he? I think in open press. What's happened there?
Yeah, I think when Mowbray came in, he kind of said Johnson's his preferred option, so Grant Scott has worked his way back into the team, which is quite strange, seeing as Grant was probably the better of the two wingers beforehand. You know, we all know Mowbray likes some kind of soft feet type players, and I think he saw Johnston as more of a viable option, which caused a bit of uproar because Grant had probably been one of our better players up to that point.
He was on a right redemption arc, weren't
he? Yeah, but he's chops and changes. Like Grant played, did he play at Coventry? I think he did, and then was on the bench today. Just constantly chopping and changing. He just doesn't know his best players.
Okay, Aaron, we better get to you before the light fades completely in Gran Canaria. Thanks for joining us on your holiday. I think we can just about make you out. Right then. First of all, is it the right decision to sack him now, Aaron, rather than just give him these last two games and then do it at the end of the season? What's the benefit in doing it now?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't see him having the rest of the season. You know, there's no benefit to giving him the rest of the season, regardless. No matter what happens for the last two games of the season against Cardiff or Luton, I don't see any positives coming from that. You know, whether he was in charge or not, if I'm honest. So you might as well just get rid, in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of ifs or buts that could come with that, or with against that, regardless as well. But at the same time, in my opinion, I would say, look, I'd have got rid of him ages ago. I don't think he was the right man to lead us for a long time. I mean, you know. He was never first choice, which is in my opinion, he was never first choice. Wiki was our first choice. Wiki was the podcast's first choice. Dare I say? You know, I mean, as an Albion fan, I believe he was the Albion fans' first choice. So it's possible to say that he was the podcast first choice as well. I mean, what wrong could you say about Wiki? You know, like, I mean, obviously he hadn't done it in a technical big league, if you don't want to call the Swiss league a big league. But at the same time, you know, Mowbray hasn't been in the game for God knows how long now. It's been a while, and obviously his first stint back with us hasn't been the greatest, and it really questions me if he is to get another job, you know, in a championship or even lower than that. As sad it is to say, I mean, Mowbray has been a good manager over the past few years. You know, early 2000s, don't get me wrong, he was honestly one of the best EFL managers you could ask for. If you had him in charge, you knew that promotion was guaranteed, regardless. But like, you can't live on the past. And I think a lot of Albion fans are living on the past of respect and, you know, prejudice of what he'd done in the past. It's just you can't live off that as a manager. If I'm honest, I'm glad Albion have sacked him. Obviously, it's not nice to see a manager be sacked, especially someone who's so well thought of. But it was always the right decision to sack him. I don't think it was the right decision to appoint him in the first place, if I'm honest. So I'm happy with the sacking. I didn't agree with the appointment, all being said.
Cheers for Aaron. The club can take their time now, Dan, a little bit, can't they? Because you've got two games of the season left, which are going to count for absolutely nothing apart from the fact that you are going to have a say in who goes down, because you do play two of the contenders. So they're both hoping that you'll play strong teams and do something about it. Swansea in particular want you to relegate Cardiff. But who for you should be looked at in the summer?
A lot of people have said Steve Cooper, but I can't see him coming to us at all. Especially the squad we've got at the minute, and like the past couple of weeks. Who really wants to manage that bunch? I don't think there's anyone out there at the minute who wants to really manage that bunch at all.
What about you, Ben?
I mean, if you're looking to appoint sort of now, so you look at who's available, there's not a great deal of options. Will Still, who's on the TV at the moment, is an option. Steve Cooper, as we said. But other than that, it's not many others out there. I mean, do we go back in for Wiki? I don't know. I think if it was me, I'd wait to see who becomes available in the summer, because there'll be a lot of chopping and changing at whatever clubs, and assess it there. And because, like I said, we're not in any rush. The board really needs to get this one right, I think, to show that they're capable of getting to us where we want to be. So there's no rush. So we'll see who's available in the summer and take from there, I would imagine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you've been in the playoffs the whole season. I can't remember
2 years more like.
It is, yeah. and now you sit in 10th, Aaron. I think the lowest you can mathematically finish is still 13th or something like that. I mean, some of you did predict a mid-table finish, I think. Yeah.
And I thought I was being harsh.
Yeah, at the start of the season. I mean, the fan base's anger is all directed towards Mowbray. But Aaron, do you think the players need to take a bit of responsibility here as well?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, 1,000,000%. I mean, a lot of the players have been here for 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, we've just given Bartley an extra year for whatever reason. I will not be entertained. I feel like he should have been given. Well, he should have been given as much in orders at the end of this year. If I'm quite honest, I mean, I can understand the importance of the leadership and whatnot, but what leadership qualities is he giving off? What, how to forfeit a season? How to make a manager quit? You don't want that as a player. I mean, Caleb Taylor, as a centre half coming through, he's had a fair few League One loan deals now. Fair few at the top as well. So he is, in my opinion, ready for the next step, and I think we'll see a lot of him next season. So next season on the podcast, you'll see a lot of Caleb Taylor love is what I'm hoping for. A lot of what Hagen's been given, but at the same time, like if he's being led by Bartley, like you can't assume that he'll be the best that he can be, judging because Bartley isn't the best he can be. Like it's just frustrating because I think in my opinion, Bartley should have been let go at least 2 years ago. We should have been ruthless, but obviously, based off the ownership we had, obviously our ownership is. I appreciate our ownership has changed hands quite recently, so we've had quite a decent bit of ownership turmoil in the past few seasons, or season and a half, I should say. With the new owners coming in, I still don't understand why Bartley's been given the extra year, but I'd like to think that he's on very, very, very decreased wages. I wouldn't like to think he'd take up much of our wage bill, and I think with that we'd like to take up more of those signings on new and younger players, especially in that position, because we're crying out for centre halves at the moment. If I'm honest.
All right. We'll try and leave the doom and gloom there then for another week. Cardiff away this weekend. It's the last away game, of course, of the season. So we wanted just to take this opportunity to ask you for your favourite away trip. Some of you have done some incredible miles this season. Dean's not here because it's his wife's birthday, but I think Dean has been to I don't think he's missed one, has he?
I don't think he
yeah,
has,
he's no. So hats off to you and Dean and any others that have joined Dean on this journey. Dan, what's been your, not the one that you've been to, what's been the best away trip this season?
I'd probably say the first game of the season against QPR. Really wasn't
That's as good as it
expecting much.
got.
Yeah, that's as good as it got. But wasn't really expecting much from this season, and to be fair, it's turned out that way anyway. But to go to QPR and go a goal down, I was like, oh god, here we go. But then up steps Madja, bangs in a hat trick.
Yeah, good shout, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they're all early on in the season, aren't they? They've not won away since November, so you're casting your mind back a bit. Stoke away was pretty good early on. It's always good to get a win at Stoke. And we had the 3-0 at Portsmouth. We thought we were going to piss the league, and it all just came crumbling down from there. So
we definitely put the kiss of death on it, didn't we?
That's it, yeah. So,
yeah. To be fair, I thought everybody apart from Dan thought you were going to piss the league. He's still,
it's still out, Mark.
Yeah,
we'll try and get our predictions out later. We won't get carried away next season.
No, absolutely not. Aaron, for you, you still see this.
I mean, following on from Ben, the 3-0 at Portsmouth, everyone thought that we were title favourites. If I'm honest, I mean, what went wrong at that point of the season? Not a lot, if I'm quite honest. I mean, after that, it sort of hit a brick wall where we just capitulated. I mean, we were losing left, right, and centre. We were drawing games we should have won. We were losing games we could have possibly drawed. It was a terrible time to be an Albion fan. So, yeah, I mean, that, in my opinion, was probably the highlight of the season. It was probably the most complete performance that we could have had. Albeit against a promoted side from League One, but again, it was still a performance to be proud of, regardless of who it's against. It was a great performance to be had by all Albion fans, and I'm sure every Albion fan would agree.
Okay, Brill. One more to go. Dan, last week you were on your own and you predicted the player of the season was Hegem, and literally I think half an hour after finish recording, he went and grabbed that. So let's see if we can do it again. We're looking for the goal of the season. This time round. What's all of your favourite time it's hit the onion bag? Let us know in the comments as well, of course, what your favourite one is. Ben, should we start with you?
I'm struggling.
I'll let you throw in cup games as well.
We just don't score exciting goals. Like, we haven't got the type of player to stick one in the top corner, and that's been the issue this season. We haven't got them type of players. I mean, a certain someone whose name I don't want to mention anymore scored a free kick at Burnley, which was half decent, I suppose. But the goal that probably made
not be named.
Yeah, the goal that probably made me feel the most excited this season is probably Jason Malumbi's against Sheffield Wednesday, the last minute one. I mean, it wasn't an amazing goal, but kind of like the occasion and the feeling it gave you. You have to kind of give it that. I'm struggling off the top of my head to think of a technically good goal, so I'll give it emotionally the best goal.
Emotionally,
to Malumbi.
Right, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, to follow on from what Ben's saying, I agree with the Jason Malumbi goal against Sheffield Wednesday. That was it was pantomime to be exact. I mean, I feel like every Albion fan would have thought that conceding in the 92nd minute would it have been you thought this is it, we're drawing 1-1, but then to win in the 96th minute or 97th minute would it have been, it's amazing. It's what you hope from any team to win so late on if you're going to win at all. But again, if I'm going to go from a goal alone, I think Isaac Price's goal against against Hull at home. You know, the volley, bounced down to him, and he just wedded it. And I thought, that was quite a good goal. I mean, I feel like he had a lot of chances like that in that game, to be exact. But it landed to him nicely in that game, and I feel like his desire to get the goal was rewarded with a goal.
Well, finally, Dan, you've had time to think now.
I think the only one I can think of, I'm not even sure who scored, but I think it might have been against Swansea, where I think there was about 30 odd some passes. Don't even know who scored, but just the whole build up of it. The only thing that springs to mind, I don't even know who scored, but yeah.
I think that was Mowbray. Might have been Mowbray as well, actually.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it might have been actually, but yeah, that's what I could think of. There hasn't been that many great goals.
Josh Mags back heel against Luton was quite good, actually.
okay.
Oh, yeah, there's that one as well.
That's probably the other one just thought of, but slim picking down it.
Right. Cheers, you three. Aaron, we'll let you get back to the party that we can hear in Gran Canaria. How is it out
And
there?
that free bar.
I apologise for the background noise.
It's all right. It's louder than the Hawthorns has been recently, isn't it? To be fair. Right. Cheers, you three. We'll catch up with you for the next week's show, previewing the final home game of the season. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
See you later.
That's one.
Have a good evening, lads. See you later.
Yeah.